So, schauen wir mal. Nächste Quest.
Juno showed up too.
Still, I was obviously gonna be the one who'd end up solving.
Whoa!
Watchen's hackboard was suddenly being spammed by Juno's words.
Fuck! She's being a pain in the ass. I can't see any other posters.
Juno showed no signs of stopping, though.
What? 4chan went down? That cheat!
Did Juno do that?
Yeah, she overloaded the server with all her posts. It's sabotage.
That woman.
Hey, you checked 4chan?
I was there when it went offline. Let's use some other site.
We can't. All the hacker hangouts are down.
What?
Does this mean we gotta solve it by ourselves?
In the worst case scenario, yeah. I'll look for a way to get in touch with other hackers.
Can I leave Juno's code to you? We're gonna try to solve cicadas.
The quest is the highest priority, isn't it? We should work on it together.
But we can't ignore Juno's code either. It could lead us to Kent Korihisa. We should work on this too.
But
Please help me, Rosario. They can handle the quest without us.
very well. I'll help you as best as I can.
You got the gadget, Momo?
Yes, right here.
Momo took out a cylindrical device about the size of her palm. It was like a hockey puck. This was what Nono had made for us to use against Sacraments, her berry blocky. It created electromagnetic interference across an area 4 meters in diameter and could nullify electromagnetic waves of any intensity. Momo and I both had one. If the agents attacked us, we could at least use them to buy ourselves time to escape. Maybe they could even neutralize agents' powers too.
Good luck, Polon.
You too, Momo.
Ah, they're all down! Even the social media sites that aren't for hackers are gone.
The info exchanges on the dark web are offline, too.
She's so annoying.
2 hours had passed since Cicada posted his new quest. Juno used DDoS attacks to bring down all the social media servers, including ones unrelated to hacker-centric sites.
Polly, look! The comments on this video! Hackers are talking!
Whoa, nice. Wait, it's down already?
And I just found him! Juno is a meanie!
I took a sip of 7 Cup to cool my head. Despite what was happening, hackers were putting their heads together and actually making progress on the quest. The hint from the first image was a number, and searching that number led to a different image. On top of that, Juno's DDoS attacks were letting up, and Nakano Symphonies had only found 2 of the 3 prime numbers. The 3301 in Cicada 3301 was a prime number, but it wasn't the right one. Knowing what the other hackers were thinking would have helped, but that was out of the question.
Look at this.
The source code?
Yeah, they're leaving comments in the source code of a news site. Someone here found all 3 prime numbers.
I'll try him out.
We'd noticed that the image dimensions were prime numbers, but we'd overlooked its file size. Multiplying them together got us this. So if we switched that figure in for the square in Klasse.
A 404 error.
What does that error mean again?
It means that a page with that address doesn't exist.
We tried redoing the calculation and accessing the site again, but the result was the same.
I guess we were wrong?
Yeah, the other hackers are already looking for more prime numbers.
The hackers exchanging info through the source code had already given up on the 404 page. In that
I'm
case,
gonna investigate the page a little more.
Huh? But it's the wrong place.
I feel like there's more to it than we can see.
honestly though, I wanted to check it out because I knew there was no point just doing the same thing as all the other hackers.
So...
I looked at the page again. It didn't seem different from any other 404 error. The spelling was the same, the text was displayed normally, there were no hidden images, nothing about it was special. Maybe there was something in the source code.
Hold on, you might be onto something. This page was made a year ago.
Huh?
There were two types of 404 error pages. One type was automatically produced by the browser, and the other was prepared by the home page's creators. Since this error page was made a year ago, it had to be the latter, meaning that Cicada himself might have made it.
Wait, what? Bad news! You should close that page right now!
Huh? Why?
A bunch of people are saying that the page made them feel nauseous and made their children collapse.
Wait, what? Something's making the hackers queasy?
Huh? No, it's just happening to kids.
A phenomenon that only affected kids and did nothing to adults.
Cross, does the page have any sound?
Sound? Let me check.
Moved his hands over his input device.
Found something. It's an audio file.
Thanks.
I played it and...
What the hell? Nothing? That's some scary shit!
No, it's not nothing. We just can't hear it.
Huh? What do you mean?
You remember those toys from a while back? The ones with audio comms? The little remote-controlled cars. I got someone to buy one for me when I was a kid, but I started feeling like crap as soon as I played with it. I puked my guts out. I thought it was just a cold, but my friends said the same thing happened to them.
Were the toys cursed?
No, there was a problem with the audio comm frequency. The input data was supposed to be sent using inaudible frequencies, but by some mistake, they used a frequency that kids could hear. So many kids were affected that the toys eventually got recalled. I even returned mine and got a different toy.
How come only kids could hear it?
Kids have a wider audible range than adults. Their ears can pick up more frequencies.
Oh, that makes sense.
I visualized the waveform of the sound file. And yeah, something's definitely there.
Just two sounds, huh?
It could be binary.
Can you convert it?
Give me a sec.
Cross uses input device like a DJ.
1000101. 10. Converting it to ASCII code gives you EGG. Egg.
Whoa! That's awesome! We got our next hint! Why egg, though?
No idea.
When's Cicada gonna quit it with his goddamn codes?
Our reward for making sense of the codes was just more stupid codes. These siblings had to chill. I drank some 7 Cup to stop myself getting pissed off.
Hey, you said this page was made a year ago. Are there any signs it was updated after that? Anything he added later would be pretty sus, right?
It was made a year ago and hasn't been touched since.
Okay...
There was a quest on New Year's Eve last year, too. It's pretty crazy to think he made this page while that was happening, huh?
That was the pool hack, wasn't it?
Yep, the one where some BMI virus took control over people's visions.
The Scenery Intercept quest.
That was the first quest that led to fatalities. The virus was spread throughout Seattle and infected people's BMI through Wi-Fi connections. As well as changing what people saw, it hijacked their nervous systems and manipulated their emotions, driving them to jump off buildings. 11 people were killed, totally at random. What exactly the victims saw as well as how they felt, remained unknown. But it was known that the people who committed suicide had cheerful looks on their faces, like they were diving into a swimming pool. That was how it got the name Pool Hack.
That shit left a bad taste in my mouth.
There is even a countdown until the suicides.
It was the second quest Cicada posted after his reappearance on May 5th, 2036. It was also the first quest Cross and I took part in. I didn't have my saving and loading ability back then, so all we could do was watch as the victims threw themselves to their deaths.
Is this what the egg meant?
What, you found something?
Look.
You are currently watching live footage from our drone. According to witnesses, people suddenly started gathering at the helipad on Shinjuku's Egg Tower about half an hour ago. The tower's integrity was called into question after the sad morning, so it was designated off-limits to the public in case it collapsed. As such, an extremely dangerous situation could be unfolding. More than 50 people have gathered now. Who are they, and what do they want?
There's a countdown on the other building! It's just like the pool hack! It's gotta be the quest!
Did Cicada plan this event a whole year ago?
The people on the helipad were looking up at the sky, all spaced out. They were staggering around like they were hypnotized. This was Pool Hack 2.0, then once the countdown reached 0, more than 50 people were going to jump to their deaths. We had about 54 minutes left. The countdown was scheduled to end 5 minutes into the new year. If this one had the same setup as the last one, we could prepare a digital vaccine and then
The
remotely...
hackers are saying that those people's BMI are offline. They're not on the scene, so it's not like they've tried infrared or close-range radio yet.
Whoa, hold on. You're saying we have to wire up and install the vaccine into everyone individually?
That depends on what we find out, but it's possible.
Even if we looked into it and found the cause, how much time would we have left? How many seconds would we have to use for each of them? Even if I went to the helipad this second, I'd have to vaccinate each person in under a minute. Do we make it?
Damn it! I don't even have the time to think about this. I'm heading to the tower. I'll see what's what when I get there.
The Akaska crater was a true example of the sad morning's devastation than the one in Shinjuku. Rubble in the area had shifted slightly during the rescue operations, but the dust had been settled since. Warped steel beams, glass fragments, and the collapsed walls of skyscrapers covered the ground. The bottom of the crater had filled with rainwater, and moonlight glimmered across the surface.
The coordinates are in there?
Uneasy, Rosario looked up at the mountain of rubble. It was hard to tell whether there was even enough space for someone to squeeze through, so her doubts were justified.
You should be able to see the path if you use the BMI sensors.
Infrared, thermal, landscape. Pulon had taught me about the many BMI functions.
Let's just keep moving forward. I don't know where we'll end up, but we don't have time to be standing still.
Here it is.
The egg tower hadn't suffered a direct hit, but it was still in the blast zone. As a result, it ended up a hotbed of debris. That's why it had been completely sealed off. It was only a matter of time until it was demolished. A large earthquake would probably be enough to bring it down. And right now, there were more than 50 people standing on its helipad. The gear must have restored its electricity. I could see some lights shining up there. Police officers surrounded the building. There was no tape to cordon off the area yet, so they couldn't have been here long. Some MSM crews were doing live broadcasts about the situation too. There were some curious onlookers around as well, but only about 10 so far. Saw the countdown video the hackers had set up. It felt like the time was melting away.
I'm checking the foreign news, and it looks like the only pool hack going on is the Egg Tower one.
During the last pool hack, multiple people committed suicide from high-rise buildings, and the face hack blew up into a global crisis. Since this quest was focused in one spot, Cicada could have been targeting me. Even if that worked out for us, I didn't know how to feel about everyone else who'd gotten involved. It was our fault they were in danger. We had to take care of this somehow.
There's gotta be other ways this pool hack's different from the last one. We have to be thorough as we work.
And we should watch out for Juno, too.
There was no way she was gonna stop DDoS attacks. She was probably gonna come here and try completing the quest herself, and if Juno was here, she was gonna get in our way for sure.
I'll use the neighboring building to try and analyze the situation at the helipad.
I'll help you guys.
All right, then I'll climb the egg tower.
If I went straight to the helipad, I'd probably get attacked by Juno. She was a phantom who could disappear and reappear at will. There was no telling what she'd do, so if something happened, I'd just come back here.
Let's see.
The police had the front entrance covered. I had to go in another way. After making my way through the underground, I snuck into the first basement floor of the building. I went up the stairs and saw the entrance from inside. But beside it was Juno. The intense scent of her perfume was filling the air.
What are you doing here? What about my code? Where's the girl? I thought she meant something to you.
Of course she does. But I know I can depend on her, too. That's why I trusted her with getting your code.
You truly are the worst. It's like you enjoy being a thorn in my side.
I don't want to hear that from you. You're the one who keeps getting in our way. You made an enemy of every hacker in the world. But I can't say I expected you to be wasting time here. If you're here to complete the quest, shouldn't you go to the helipad?
You should know by now that quests are never that simple. I will stay here and eliminate my enemies until I'm certain that victory is mine. Why not run back to your girl's side? If you leave now, I won't kill you.
Are you gonna run me over with a train if I stay?
A train?
I'm asking if you're gonna teleport me to some train tracks.
What do you know?
I'm just talking about something from a past that didn't happen.
Juno glared at me, her eyes ablaze with malice. If I wanted to complete the quest, I was gonna have to incapacitate her somehow. We wanted different things, so cooperation wasn't an option. I looked around for something I could use. Decorative plants, paintings, statues, lights. Suddenly, Juno disappeared from my peripheral vision. Where'd she go? I spun around, but there was no sign of her.
Lamentabile. Plaintively.
I heard a voice behind me, then felt something touch my shoulder. And the scenery changed. Hazy blue clouded my sight. A sudden cold pressure enveloped my body. Every breath transformed into bubbles that rose upwards. I was underwater. The moment I realized, I started searching desperately for a way to the surface. Luckily, I couldn't feel a current acting on me like it would be in a river or an ocean, but the scenery below looked like a seabed. A shark passed right by me. Shit. I pumped my limbs wildly to try and get myself to the surface. I didn't even have time to check if the shark was after me. sudden dangerous situation and the lack of oxygen had made my head go blank, and all I could do was just swim to the surface. I burst from the water, then leapt out of the tank as fast as I could. At least my limbs were intact. It looked like I'd made it out in one piece.
Hold on. You good?
Juno got me! She threw me into a shark tank!
What?
The egg tower has an aquarium?
No, she sent me somewhere else.
It says you're in Shinagawa.
Wait, really? So she really is a phantom? She actually can disappear and reappear. Please tell me the details.
If I had the details, I wouldn't be soaking wet in Shinagawa.
But without any specifics, we can't analyze Juno's behavior or prepare any countermeasures. You weren't recording your vision?
I didn't think of that.
I've had my eye on Juno for a while, and I have some theories of my own.
Gotta breathe.
If I can analyze the exact moments she uses her phantom skills, I should be able to help you.
Gotcha. I'll get you the footage next time. So help me beat Juno then.
Of course. You can count on me.
Yeah, let's load back to the egg tower for another showdown with Juno.
Hey, you want to see Juno doing her phantom thing?
Excuse me?
I can send you a clip, so analyze it for a way to stop her.
You're going to expose her secret? That's so cool! I'll gladly help. Heck, I'm so excited my hands are shaking.
I'm counting on you, Miss Lid.
Juno was in the egg tower just like before.
Where's the girl? I thought she meant something to you.
Of course she does. But I know I can depend on...
I said the same stuff as last time and waited for her to do her thing.
I'm asking if you're gonna teleport me to some train tracks.
What do you know?
I'm just talking about something from a past that didn't happen.
I turned on my BMI's recording function. Juno disappeared. Turned around, but she was nowhere in sight.
Lamentabile. Plaintively.
A voice from behind me. I broke into a sprint before she could touch me. Kicking off the ground, I ran as fast as I could.
What?
The shocked voice trailed on, but I had to focus. I barreled outside through the front entrance. Passing by the officers, I made it to the main street. After confirming that Juno wasn't chasing after me, I stopped in place. I sent the recording to Miss Lid.
This footage is amazing! The way she disappears is practically teleportation.
If she touches you, she can instantly send you somewhere else.
She can do it to other people too? That makes it even more interesting.
I'll be waiting on your analysis. I need a strategy too.
There was no way I'd get anywhere near the helipad without a way to counter Juno's skills. I could help Cross and Wind until Miss Lid was done with her analysis. There's a police car come to a stop nearby. Its doors opened and...
Hey, it's the Cyberforce dolls.
Maybe the CCO had some juicy info about the pool hack that we'd missed somehow. I figured it'd be a good idea to talk to them before meeting up with Cross and Wind. We followed the path using BMI sensors and ended up at an entrance to the underground. It was one of the so-called service tunnels spread throughout the city and was full of communications cables. The coordinates given by Juno's code led somewhere beyond this tunnel, and we moved forward with flashlights in hand.
Be careful. There's more rubble here.
Many places nearby had collapsed following the sad morning. We had to crawl in places, pass through flooded areas, and even the longer paths were even that was impossible.
Momo, look over there.
Rosario used her flashlight to light the path ahead. There, I saw it.
A door?
It was a metallic door, and so pristine that it felt out of place. It had clearly been installed after the said morning. There was an electric lock on it with a device for password input.
We're at the coordinates.
So the place is past this door. It looks like we need a password, though.
If I had to guess,
1223.
I used the 4-digit number I'd seen during the process that led to these coordinates. I twisted the knob and pushed the door open. A faint light leaked out from inside. I opened the door further and stepped through. It was a space about 16 square meters in size. It felt like an apartment room without any windows. Unlike its new metallic door, this room was quite dilapidated. Was this a part of the service tunnels? Was it installed later, or was it accidentally buried during the said morning? A number of candles lit the room, and in the middle was a large, peculiar box. It was made of marble and glass, and sat on an elevated platform. It was longer horizontally, about as big as a fridge on its side. Through the glass, I saw that it was filled with flowers.
What is that?
Let's take a look.
We moved closer and looked down at it. I could feel myself turning pale. Nausea washed over me. The sight before me was like something from a nightmare.
Kent Korihisa? How?
Inside the box slept Kent Korihisa. He wasn't breathing. It looked like he'd been preserved with a staggering level of care.
It's obviously a fake. That woman is trying to trick us. And I'll prove it.
Rosario reached for the coffin. At that moment, we felt someone join us.
So, you made it all the way here.
Juno! What is going on here? Why is Kent Korihisa?
As you can see, he's dead. Congratulations! Now you know his secret!
But
That can't be true. If he's dead, why are the quests still happening? Who is Sakita?
Did you kill him?
How dare you suggest such a thing? As if I'd kill my beloved!
How did he die then? Can you prove that this corpse is really him?
There was an accident. He was in a cold sleep machine for a long time, resting. He said, in order to circumvent the end, he needed his brain to stay young. He was so beautiful that I made a habit of simply watching him sleep. If those days were waking dreams, then February 6, 2036 was the day I woke up.
On the sad morning?
He came out of cold sleep shortly before that, and then he was reduced to splattered bits of flesh. He was caught in the SA-4D attack. By the time I found him, he was already dead.
No.
I moved the rubble off of my brother and gathered him as thoroughly as I could. His hair, his teeth, his nails and flesh and blood. Oh, that's right. I used a sponge to soak up the fluid and wrung it out into a bucket.
what?
He was in pieces, but he was just as adorable. I put him back together, taking my time and enjoying every second of it.
What?
You can't imagine how I felt when I finally put him into the coffin, whole again. Look at him. I reassembled him perfectly, didn't I? No one would think he'd been crushed by so much rubble. Oh, dear brother, you're as beautiful as ever. Still the Kent I've loved for as long as I can recall. and no different from when I first wanted you.
With a gentle smile on her face, she kissed the glass cup.
You understand now, don't you? You can't have him, no matter what you do. Don't come anywhere near my brother ever again! And don't you dare investigate him any further! Leave this place! Be gone!
With a terrifying expression on her face, she grabbed us by the shoulders and marched us out of the room. Okay.
Hold on, Takaoka. You were here after all.
Perfect timing. I was gathering info about the pool hack. People up there are gonna jump off soon, so let's work together and get this done.
We can't. We're not here for the quest. Where's Momo Aizaki?
Not with me.
I can see that. I'm asking you where she is.
Didn't you get her contact info?
She's offline. I can't call her. Hey, where is she?
Hold on, why are you being so cold? What's wrong with you? Hey, don't you two think there's something up with her?
I figured Rico and Iroha would agree, but...
We can't chat right now.
Just answer our questions.
Whoa, what the hell?
Something wasn't right with them. They even said they weren't after the quest, that something happened.
Hey, if you see any cops, turn and run.
Huh?
The TMPD are working with the Holy Office. Some of its departments are trying to capture the little lady.
What about the CCO?
Don't trust them either.
I used the keyboard in my pocket to send Momo a message warning her about
Put
this.
your hands where I can see them. Try anything funny and we'll arrest you.
How about no?
Show me your hands!
I finished typing the message and sent it.
Hold on, Takaoka!
Get a hold of yourself! You know what kind of fucked up people the Holy Office 513 are, don't you? As long as it's legal, it's okay? Is that it?
My words shook Bambi, but she maintained her posture. I had a bad feeling about this. I saved, just to be safe. As soon as I had a police car stopped close by, 3 men stepped out. According to their BMI profiles, 2 of them were officers from the Foreign Affairs Department. The third, a young man in priest's clothing, didn't have a profile. If Oz's info was on the money, he was probably a Holy Office agent.
The CCO? Your job is to contact Momo Aizaki, isn't it? I wasn't informed you'd be here.
She was offline, so we came to talk to Polan Takaoka.
If you found Takaoka, you should have reported it immediately. Interrogating him is our responsibility.
The man looked away from Bambi and...
Tell me the whereabouts of Momo Aizaki.
And if I say no?
Suddenly, one of the police car's back doors swung open violently. Cyberforce stalls and I looked over to the car. A pale hand gripped the edge of the door. A strange scent wafted past my nose. Something about that smell told me I was about to witness something wrong. The thing in the patrol car revealed itself.
No way!
It couldn't be real. The man before me couldn't possibly be here. Not him. Not the man I'd seen die in front of me.
Davide Yesue?
The fuck? His cocky smile twitched as I noticed that his face was weirdly contorted. No, it wasn't just his face. There was something wrong with his whole body. It was rotting away. His complexion was extremely foul, and in some places he had no skin or flesh at all. That explained the smell. It was the reek of decomposition.
Our Davide fell to the pall of death once before, but by God's gracious will, he has undergone miraculous anastasis.
What?
Miraculous? Did a sacrament do this?
Shit. I underestimated the powers. I didn't think they could even bring back the dead.
Now, Davide, let us fulfill our mission and ask him for Lucia's whereabouts.
Ah, whelp. What a joy it is to see you.
Davide took off one of his gloves and charged right at me. I switched on my berry blocky and threw it forward. Gadget landed 5 meters in front of him. It was effective across a diameter of 4 meters. It would activate in 3, 2, 1. The ray escaped the gadget's effective range before it was activated. The bastard was actually faster than before. Could he even get away? I didn't have the time. He seized my neck with his massive hand. Without slowing down, he kept sprinting. And then slammed me right into a streetlight. Someone was holding Polon by the neck against the streetlight.
Where is Lucia?
Not gonna tell you.
I could tell that the man's grip had tightened after that answer.
Tell me, where is she?
Kiss my ass.
Polon's legs rose off the ground. He was struggling to escape, but the chokehold wasn't getting any looser. He grimaced in pain.
Stop it!
I spoke without even thinking.
We're just asking for his assistance to locate Momo Izaki, right? Why are you using force? He's not a criminal. He's not even a suspect!
We've been granted permission to find the girl using any means we choose. You are aware of that, are you not?
Even so!
This is a joint operation. Since the highest authorities of the TMPD have consented, I believe it'd be best that you follow orders. You don't want to break the rules, do you?
Polon was still being held up by his neck. More color drained from his face every second.
Hey! Stop him! That's your job, isn't it?
I begged my fellow officers to intervene, but they ignored me.
Bombi, don't. We can't stop this.
I'm sorry, Takaoka.
I looked at Rico and Iroha. The Holy Office personnel forced guns into our hands, telling us to use them if necessary, but that was never an option for us. All we could do to resist was look away. If I kept looking, it would be like I was endorsing the brutality through my inaction, and I really didn't want that. It was all I could do to pretend I didn't see. If I wanted to protect the law, the rules, I had to find a compromise within the boundaries of my orders. Was this really justice? Was this why I'd become an officer? To watch as someone had their life choked out of them?
Are you okay?
I heard a voice. It was a voice from my memories. Voice I'd heard in the summer of my second year at high school. I'd finally saved up enough money and I was on my way to the department store to buy a uniform for idol auditions. But on the way to the store, a thief stole my purse. I didn't have the courage to chase after him, so I just stood there and cried my eyes out.
Are you okay?
It was the voice of an off-duty officer. She'd followed the burglar, brought me back my purse, and given me a handkerchief.
Here, wipe your tears. An officer's job is to keep people smiling, you know. I'd be really happy if you could smile for me.
She was just like one of the idols I'd been looking up to. I hadn't even gotten her name, but I never forgot what she did for me and how it made me feel. I was so happy. It was the first time I realized what the police could do for people. That was why I became a police officer when I couldn't be an idol.
Speak. Where is Lucia?
Not telling.
I could barely breathe, but he had no intention of letting me go. That filthy, half-rotted hand still had a lot of strength. I didn't have the energy to resist. My consciousness was fading.
Let him go!
I saw Bambi. She was holding a gun. It wasn't a real handgun. It was a stun gun that incapacitated targets with an electric charge. Davide turned around. He glanced at her gun. The grip on my neck loosened. Bambi faced the huge, rotting man. It didn't seem to faze her that she was up against someone who'd come back from the dead.
It's an officer's job to protect Smiles. They've got to sparkle like idols do. Your methods aren't righteous at all. I'd rather quit the police than work with the Holy Office.
You ignored my warning. How foolish.
Davide reached out with his heated hand. His target was the shotgun. Bobby pulled the trigger immediately. Electrode needles launched out and embedded into his body. Electricity coursed through him as he fell to his knees.
Bastard!
I punched his arm as hard as I could in an attempt to finally get him off me. Flesh tore from his arm, exposing something that looked like bone. But he wasn't bleeding. The stink of rot simply grew stronger. The fuck?
Well.
Deep and heinous emotions whirled in his eyes.
Hold on! Run!
Stop her!
Yes, sir!
Obeying the order, the FAD officers tried to restrain Bambi.
She never thinks of the consequences, does she? Guess we've got no choice but to follow suit. Iroha, let's help Bambi.
Yeah.
Bambi's actions had turned the situation on its head. Conflict was between the officers themselves now. That was a close one. I didn't have much time to enjoy the relief though. Davide recovered from the shock and stood back up. Part of the flesh embedded in with his electrodes had just crumpled off his body. It was just plain nasty.
You will not escape me.
There were so few things I could hack that I was basically powerless. That was why I'd called Draper I'd parked nearby. When I had the chance, I'd move to a place where I had the advantage. I didn't have a plan in mind, but it was out of options. And then I saw it. My ride drove up to me, weaving through the onlookers. It jumped up on the Draper in front.
Attention, douchebags! Yeah, you, the cross-wielding zombie and his handler. I'm about to get away. Better come after me.
After him.
At once.
They both rushed to their police car, all according to plan. I made a sharp turn on my grape and sped away. As I left, I saw the FAD officers restraining Bambi. She'd always told me to respect the law, but she'd broken it to save my life. I owed her big time. At the abandoned building next to the Egg Tower, sat Cross and Wind watching what was happening at the helipad.
Neither infrared nor close-range radio works, huh? I wanted to hack into their BMI and get the details on this pool hack, but I didn't think there was no way to connect to them remotely.
So, without a wired connection, you can't determine the virus and stuff?
Yeah. I'm guessing the virus switches the BMI to offline mode when it's infected. Probably just to make the quest more difficult.
Eesh, that cicada's a real piece of work.
I guess I'll stick to it. See what else I can find.
Okay, and I'll help.
They looked over at the helipad through their BMI. Analyzing it for infrared and ultraviolet invisible to the naked eye, they zoomed in on the crowd, watching it as if though through binoculars.
You found something?
Caught some light. Li-fi.
I think I've heard of that somewhere.
It's a comms method that uses LED lights. It doesn't even need to be bright enough for humans to see, though. I wouldn't have noticed it without BMI.
So those people aren't completely offline.
But Li-Fi is short range and it can't go through walls. We still need to go to the helipad if we want to do any hacking.
Couldn't you connect through a drone?
That's not a bad idea. But this quest would be too easy if all you needed to beat it was a drone. The Li-Fi's gotta be open for some special reason.
Special... a special one. By the way, this was the first time there were 2 cicadas, right?
Cicadas?
I'm talking about Cicada 3301's post. You know how there's usually a picture of a cicada? There were 2 cicadas this time.
Wait, does that mean there's a collaborator in this quest?
What?
Someone using Li-Fi to control those people would explain why the Li-Fi's open. It's not a virus this time.
So, he's gonna make them commit suicide manually? But then, what's the point of the countdown?
Same reason he killed the Wi-Fi. To make the quest more difficult. These people are going to commit suicide whether you act or not. So how are you going to handle it? That might be the challenge this time.
Once we crawled out from below the crater, we felt the pale light of the moon washing over us. It felt so far removed from the red candlelight of the room we'd come from. We'd seen Kent Coriza sleeping under that warm light.
Is it really him?
My instincts told me that it really was his body. But maybe Rosario was right. Maybe it was a fake that Juno had set up to demoralize us. And the quests arranged by Cicada, Kent Coriza's other name, were still underway.
Rosario, let's go help with the quest. If we meet with Cicada, we should learn the truth about his death.
You're right. Let's go.
I noticed that I had received a message on my BMI.
This is...
I heard footsteps somewhere nearby, and when I turned in the direction the sounds were coming from, there was a hooded man walking over to us. The moment I noticed the crosses on his collar and sleeves, my mind was overcome with anxiety.
There you are, Lucia.
Are you...
Before I could finish, he nodded.
Ronin del Cielo, agent of 513.
And introduced himself.
He's dangerous.
You know him?
I've heard a lot of rumors. I don't know if he's on Davide's level, or even stronger, but he's
a really powerful agent.
All they'd done was say the same thing at the same time, but something felt off about it. Maybe he simply guessed what Rosario was going to say, but for some reason he seemed dangerous. Rosario suddenly pointed her gun at him.
Don't worry, this won't even be a fight. I won't waste time. I'll beat...
You can't hope to beat me.
The moment Ronin cut off Rosario's words, he closed the distance between them. Rosario opened fire without a moment's hesitation. However,
Missed.
He'd only been walking in a straight line. The shot missed him.
How?
Second gunshot. A split second before Rosario fired, Ronin had hit her gun with his palm, knocking it downwards. The bullet she fired hit the top of her own foot. Almost subconsciously, I activated Nono's gadget and threw it at the ground. It was close enough to harm us too, but we were in a desperate situation. Ronin backed away, as if he knew how dangerous the gadget was. He moved outside the range of the electromagnetic interference, which meant...
Rosario!
I took Rosario's hand and started running. We slipped between the rubble and made our way out of the crater. I turned around for a moment and saw Ronin's face lit by the moonlight. He was looking right at us. He didn't seem to be in any hurry at all. He simply watched as we ran away. It was awfully unsettling. I drove around on my Greyper, looking for somewhere I could fight Davide. That was when I got a call from Momo.
Hold on! We cracked the final code!
Her breathing was ragged. She must have been running.
What happened? Did you figure anything out?
We found Kent Korihisa's dead body.
Huh?
I struggled to make sense of what I was hearing. And Korihisa's dead body? Dead body?
Juno said he died during the sad morning.
What the hell? If that's true, then what's the deal with Cicada?
Who was the one behind the quests?
I don't know if the body is real or not. We need to do the quest to find out.
Momo, now's not the time to be chatting.
I heard Rosario's voice on the other end.
What's going on over there?
We're being chased by an agent.
Davide went after you?
Davide? Davide's alive?
Yeah, I saw him just now. They used a sacrament to bring him back.
The agent after us is a new one. He's called Ronan, and Rosario is hurt.
Think you can handle him?
I was completely powerless against him. Maybe I could do something if I knew what his sacrament was.
He evaded the gadget.
They used GPS to find their current location. They were near a Casca crater. Was helping them an option though? We had about 25 minutes left, and I had to deal with both Juno and
Try and
Davide.
hang in there until I'm done with the quest.
I hung up and focused on what I had to do. First, there was Davide.
Oh yeah.
I remembered the time Oz almost ran over Juno. We crashed into a construction site in the crater after that. And that site had electricity, which meant if we went there, I could do some hacking. Ronan del Cielo followed Rosario's bloodstains to where she was hiding with Momo. He examined the ground, tracing the red flecks across the ground. Rosario was roughly 10 meters ahead, fighting the pain. Ronan walked up to her.
Where is Lucia?
I'm not going to tell you a thing!
Ignoring her wound, she swung her leg toward Ronan. As her foot flew through the air, a blade shot out of the tip of her shoe. It sliced through the air on its way to Ronan's throat, but missed. Its expression unchanging, Ronan evaded the kick, then took a step forward to bring his face up to Rosario's. He was so close, she could feel his breath on her skin. Before she knew what was happening, the gun that had appeared suddenly in Ronan's hand was being held to her chin.
You can't defeat me.
Noticing something, Ronan pushed Rosario aside. The next moment, 4 armed security drones were flying towards them.
They made it.
I hid in the bushes and watched as the 4 security drones arrived. Rosario couldn't run any further with her injury. She'd told me to get away, but I refused. I chose to fight Ronan instead.
I think Ronan's attacks are based on the blind spots in our thoughts.
But
He's not physically fit like Davide, but his moves take advantage of our oversights, so he can hit us where it hurts.
You think that's his sacrament?
Yes. My guess is that his power is a kind of telepathy. He reacts to our thoughts.
That sounds powerful.
But I know a way to deal with him.
looking at the 4 drones, Rosario grinned.
They made it.
This was her idea. Drone warfare. If Ronan's actions were a response to his opponent's thoughts, his own blind spot must have been machines. They didn't have thoughts at all. Working on this assumption, Rosario sent me a hacking program so I could take control of the drones. They were equipped with wires for restraining intruders.
Ronan del Cielo, we're going to stop you with...
With these drones. So that's your strategy.
The drones surrounded Ronan, poised to attack. They aimed their weapons at him. Ronan took a few small steps, but didn't run away. He may have realized that he no longer could. Next moment, the drones shot restraining wires at him. With a sharp sound, the wires flew through the air. The unbelievable occurred. The drone wires passed right by Ronan and entangled the propellers of the drones they were all opposite. All four of them plummeted to the ground. The propellers smoking, they couldn't remain airborne. But Ronan was completely unharmed.
How?
Was it those steps he took? He hadn't moved because he was cornered. He was simply adjusting his position so the drones would fire at each other.
Momo, run!
A gunshot. The next moment, Rosario collapsed. This reminded me of what I'd seen at the Nakano Broadway. Rosario was bleeding from the head. He'd killed her. Okay. Fuck. After arriving at the Shinjuku crater's reconstruction site, I hid behind a bulldozer in preparation for my fight with Davide. There were no workers inside, probably because it was New Year's Eve. This was good for me. It meant I didn't have to hold back.
Hold on! I figured out Juno's secret!
Huh? Miss Lid?
Da war ja was, ja. I listened to her explanation as I watched for Davide and his handler to show up.
The trick to Juno's disappearing and reappearing, no, her warping, is actually quantum teleportation!
What?
Huh? You mean like the stuff you see in sci-fi movies and anime?
Yes, it's a method of transportation using quantum entanglement. It's considered theoretically possible, but no person had ever traveled that way. The best researchers could do was send information. Juno must be a true genius.
So, how do we deal with her?
You'd need a pretty large device to pull off quantum teleportation. But I never saw her near anything like that. That leaves only one possibility. She's using the same thing as quantum communication.
Meaning...
a satellite. If you can disrupt her communication with the satellite, you should be able to prevent her from using quantum teleportation.
Ah, Miss Lid, you're the GOAT!
Thanks to her, I knew how to take care of Juno and make it to the helipad. A police car suddenly pulled into the area. I was out of sight, so they wouldn't find me right away. In fact, I'd left a little surprise for them.
Gotcha now.
The car was heading toward the prefab in front of the entrance. With its door slightly open and its lights on, someone was visible inside. That someone was an AR image of me. I didn't know if the Holy Office peeps had their AR on or not, but I did whatever I could to grab their attention. I figured they wouldn't go in since it was so obviously a trap, but that didn't matter to me. They only had to get close enough to...
Huh?
The car suddenly accelerated, speeding straight at the prefab. Flames rose from the car and spread to the prefab.
How did this happen?
None of these events made any sense to me. I only planned to drop a steel frame on them when they got near the prefab, but that wasn't even necessary. All my prep was for nothing.
Wait.
The car's passenger door opened. One who climbed out was Davide, and in his hand was the man in the priest's clothing. He'd been burned to a smoldering mass. The normal car fire couldn't have done that to him so quickly. That left only one possibility. Davide killed him. Davide laughed as he walked out of the prefab. His body was both rotten and burned. The flesh of his leg left leg had fallen off, exposing the bone.
No one can hinder me now.
No, fuck.
Come on, Ethan. Time to bear the yoke of hell.
A crane hung right over the prefab. I ran a program to trigger it, dropping the steel beams it was holding. But moments before that...
Hallelujah.
The giant cross on Davide's back let loose a blinding light. It shimmered gold, emanating a strange and saintly vibe. A moment later, the light engulfed Davide himself. Then I realized it wasn't light at all. The moment I realized the beams fell on him. But his fire melted through the steel beams. Bathed in the searing flames that cloaked Davide's body, they were reduced to liquid in a matter of moments.
Is his sacrament more powerful somehow?
I was more than 10 meters away from him, but it felt insanely hot. This was way more intense than the heat it felt back at Broadway. Davide dropped the priest's remains, and fire began to spread all around him.
What?
The fire spread so fast that it was like the ground was coated in gasoline. Before long, the whole site was aflame. Why didn't anyone tell me he could do that?
Okay, next move.
I turned on the engines of the heavy machinery I'd hacked. The 5 vehicles parked around the prefab turned on their headlights and lurched forward. The huge treads and tires spun at full speed, hauling their hulking frames ahead. The target was Davide. But then...
No!
The tires and treads started melting away. Then in just a few seconds, the vehicles came to a complete standstill.
Bad news, Polan. An agent's got the little lady.
What? What about Rosario?
No idea. Don't know if she's even breathing.
Shit!
There you are. Well.
Our eyes met. He smiled as he took the large cross in hand.
What's he gonna do?
The sacred symbol gave off a deadly aura. I felt like I was looking at an emissary from hell. Hair stood up all over my body. The next moment, he was running straight at me. His feet pounded the burning ground at blistering speeds.
Wait!
He was way too fast to dodge.
Shit!
In spite of his huge cross and withered legs, he was running way faster than he had been at the egg tower.
Shit!
He was in front of me in seconds.
Shit!
He raised the burning cross like it weighed nothing at all.
Wait!
And slammed it into my stomach.
I'll do what I can first.
Okay. Its impact sent me flying backward several meters. I landed hard on my back. My stomach was burning where he'd hit me with the cross, but I didn't even have the strength to put the fire out.
Rat.
Davide looked down at me. Half of his face was charred, his left eye socket was empty, but his right eye still brimmed with rapture.
I'll be seeing you in hell.
Wait!
He lifted the cross.
Shit!
And the moment it collided with my head, my consciousness blinked out forever. Cool. Okay. Aber das machen wir nächstes Mal.